Oh boy, everybody, it's the rarest of all occurrences. A conservative going after trans people. That's new. I'm kidding. If it's not conservatives losing their mind over Bud Light, it's conservatives whining about a boxer in the Olympics who isn't even transgender, or hell, even some psycho calling the cops on someone in the women's bathroom in Walmart. Anyway, one of the weirder things conservatives get upset about is pronouns. So upset they'll pass a law banning using the correct pronouns for trans students, which, oh boy, exactly what I want from the party of small government, legally mandated pronouns. Anyway, allow me the honor of introducing you to the sponsor of this bill, Arizona State Senator John Kavanagh. He is a perfectly normal person who is not at all weird.
Is that all the opponents always want to meet and debate me in the bathroom. Nobody wants to meet and debate me in the school shower.
Okay, I lied. He's very weird. Incredibly weird. Cosmic scale weird. To give you a sense of how weird he is, let's take a brief tour of his oddness, starting with that time he did a roast for controversial Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio.
Going out with Sheriff Joe is always an adventure, because usually when we walk into a restaurant, most of the wait staff and cooks dive out the back window.
The joke is that the waiters and waitresses were Latino, and they were all scared of being thrown in jail because Arpaio and Kavanagh were fascist bigots. I guess racism is a lot funnier to Republicans than to, say, normal people. Anyway, onto a different type of weird. In 2013, Kavanagh tried to defend denying health benefits to same-sex couples because it saved the state money.
We are attempting to, besides saving money, we're attempting to support marriage because we believe that the traditional definition of marriage is the best for society and, most importantly, the best for children.
I'll admit it takes some next-level weirdness to bust out an Excel sheet to explain why the state has a fiscal interest in discriminating. I wonder if he used VLOOKUP. Get it? Because we're talking about trans people and VLOOKUP? You know what, never mind. Anyway, my personal favorite weirdness of Kavanagh is in 2016 when he signed a pledge supporting term limits. Kavanagh's been in the legislature for 20 years. What is the point of term limits if you're going to be there for 20 years? He's just an absolute face-palming weirdo. But I've introduced him long enough. Let's meet the legend himself.
Are we on 1002?
1002, yes.
Okay. And I have to really speak fast because I'm vice chair of Jude in elections, and the chair got called out for a bill, and I was chairing, and now I got called out, and we're running out of Republicans to chair the meeting, so I'll be quick. This is the pronoun bill.
This must be the banality of evil I've heard so much about. Oh yes, we're very short-handed today at the law factory. Someone's out sick. I'm currently chairing a different committee right now. I'm being pulled a million different directions, so let's hurry up and get through this bill to persecute some children I don't like. Pip pip. I've never heard someone sound so bored at having to go after children. Do you think the witch in Hansel and Gretel was this bored? Anyway, after that, Kavanagh finally got around to talking about the bill.
This is the pronoun bill. Ran it last year. It was vetoed by the governor. I brought it back this year because this election was an awakening for a lot of people in terms of the results. And certainly the results and the polling show that people are not particularly supportive of the extremes that some people have gone to with respect to the so-called woke transgender policies. So I'm hoping to give some of the Democrat members who opposed this bill last year, particularly those in swing districts, the opportunity to go back on the record as being more in line with the electorate. Because the polls show that a majority of people, believe that there's two sexes and they just don't like parental rights being trampled.
The pro-trans people have gone too far. Therefore, I must ban pronouns. Also, as a leading justification of the bill, Kavanagh used, "Look at the polls. Trans people poll poorly. If you continue to support them, you'll suffer electorally. You should take my position and persecute them, especially children who can't fight back," which is such a disingenuous argument. Treating his opponents like side-switching phonies, waving around a poll saying, "Better switch your position, John Q. Public doesn't like it," isn't something he believes in himself. Prop 139 passed overwhelmingly last election. It was about abortion. Kavanagh didn't switch positions and doesn't believe polls should determine what you believe. But to bring it up in such a cynical manner to slime his opponents deserves more than a little condemnation. So what could I say that would bring Kavanagh into ill repute that I haven't already said? I've already spent more time listing his bigotries that I care about, and I could probably squeeze a few more in, but that would mean more time listening to Kavanagh talk, and I really don't want to do that. What should I do? Well, there are a couple things I do know that would make you think less of him. Hey, did you know Kavanagh's writing a book? And he bragged about it at the hearing. Which, oh my goodness, an author, practically a celebrity. Truly, us simple peasant folk aren't up to the challenge of Professor Kavanagh's massive intellect. Oh, and did I forget to mention, on top of being a world-famous in his own mind author, Kavanagh's also a college professor. So Professor Kavanagh is the correct term. He does have a doctorate from Rutgers. And you know what? I feel like I'm being mean on easy mode. This is too easy. Anyway, the book he's writing, to disappoint everyone, is not about lesbians falling out of love while running an apple orchard in 1900s Maine. It's about how to be a state legislature, which from my sample size of this hearing, he does not have the knowledge or the skill to properly write. But maybe he's squeezing it out of his 20 years in the legislature. So judge for yourself in Kavanagh's upcoming book, Racist Jokes for Beginners, with foreword by Joe Arpaio. I've got 100 of these things, so be ready. Anyway, let's get to the bill itself. I'm sure you're all very eager to hear Professor Kavanagh explain it.
But it's important that parents know, because even as the advocates of transgender people are quick to state, this group has a higher level of mental disorder in terms of anxiety and suicide risk. Not all, obviously, but overall, people with gender dysphoria have a higher level of this. So it's quite likely that this student who's transgendered, who wants to be called by a different name, not aligned with their biological gender at birth, that is in fact suffering from gender dysphoria and may very well be under psychiatric care that the parents have gotten that child. And the child's doctor may have said to the parents, do not entertain this different pronoun. It would be psychologically harmful to your child. Well, if the school doesn't get permission from the parent, school staff could literally be making this child's psychological condition worse.
Oh, so there's a medical purpose for this bill. It's something real. It's not just naked bigotry. This has to have something behind it. And while most of you will view these dubious claims of mental illness as a natural progression of the history of claiming all LGBTQ people are mentally ill, maybe Kavanagh actually has something real here. He would just walk up to the podium and make shit up. He's a college professor. They have standards. So let's see what Professor Kavanagh says when Arizona State Senator Catherine Miranda asks him where he's getting all this from.
Senator Kavanagh, where are you getting all of this? Is this your opinion, or are these facts from where?
Mr. Chair, most of what I said was qualitative and not quantitative, but I've seen polls that show the majority of the people do not back the idea of the sex change surgeries and pronouns.
I've seen some polls. That's his source. He doesn't have anything else. And in case you were wondering what qualitative versus quantitative means, well, quantitative means hard data, and qualitative means you base it on your feelings. So Kavanagh went out into a field of flowers, smelled a daisy, and then said, I should ban pronouns in schools. Which, to quote a conservative, fuck your feelings. Kavanagh's built up a specific scenario, and the only defense he's got is a general wave at some polls. He didn't cite any sources, he didn't bring any credentialed witnesses to back him up. The only thing he's basing this off of is whatever he's read off Twitter and some polls. And you can read more about how to do it in Kavanagh's upcoming book, I've Seen Some Polls, The Smirt Legislator, coming this fall from Doubleday Books. So, okay, he doesn't have any proof of this happening. And before we move further, this is not a small thing. Senator Kavanagh has a doctorate and is a college professor. He currently teaches college classes. Oh, and before you wonder, no, he isn't some liberal arts professor teaching students how to sculpt their feelings with Play-Doh. Oh, no. He is an adjunct professor teaching classes about substantive criminal law and criminalistics physical law. The description of those classes sound like if you want to say something, you have to prove it, which is the opposite of whatever he's doing here. So after having gotten caught bullshitting everyone, fear-mongering about trans people, you'd think Kavanagh would want to drop this whole, I only want pronouns to be used under a doctor's supervision talking point, but no, he keeps using it.
To be sure that they speak to parents before they make these quasi-medical decisions without their knowledge and possibly to the detriment of the mental health of the child. Are you not concerned that the medical treatment of that child would be jeopardized by the school doing this against the parents' wishes, when without the knowledge of the parents and possibly against the advice of the child's medical practitioner.
Christ, it's a miracle any crime gets solved in Arizona when this clown is out there, quote-unquote, teaching the police about substantive criminal law. What do you think the bibliography is for his textbooks? A blank page with the words "Don't ask questions" scribbled in? Okay, so Professor Kopp doesn't have any sources to back up his nonsense claims of psychiatrists mandating pronouns. Thankfully, Kavanagh is an expert at dealing with delicate situations like this. As you can tell from his recently published book, people aren't responding to my made-up arguments, and I'm calling the police. What beyond the polls does Kavanagh have to justify his pronoun proclivities?
Certainly with respect to hiding from the parents that you're engaging in transitioning their child gender-wise.
That's right, they're hiding pronouns in the school, and the teachers are in on it. They're all in on it, including her. Like, what is this? What are we doing here? Is Kavanagh honestly trying to stir up another teachers are groomers panic right now, based on pronoun usage? Is that what you want to do? Teachers are preying on kids because pronouns. Like, get a hold of yourself. Republicans have been all in on attacking teachers on grooming for a while, but trying to stretch pronouns into a form of abuse is a new low. And get ready to hit a newer low, because Kavanagh says something absolutely buck wild after this. You will literally not believe what Kavanagh said about this bill.
This doesn't stop a school employee from using a different pronoun or name. I'm not stopping people in schools from calling somebody by a different pronoun.
Okay, so using pronouns Kavanagh doesn't approve of in school is grooming, but Kavanagh's apparently okay with that? So that's where conservatives get all that creepy QAnon kid stuff. First-hand knowledge. I'm kidding, of course, but the truth is still pretty damning. Kavanagh 100% thinks using pronouns is grooming. So when he claims it doesn't force anyone to use a specific pronoun, he's lying.
This doesn't stop a school employee from using a different pronoun or name. I'm not stopping people in schools from calling somebody by a different pronoun.
Kavanagh sponsored this exact bill in 3 straight legislative sessions. He knows what it does. When he says it doesn't do that, he's lying. He's lying because he knows if he honestly stated what it did, it would look really bad, which it does. Anyway, I said Kavanagh claimed he was writing a book at the hearing, and I haven't shown you that. Well, shame on me. Let's remedy that right now.
In my forthcoming book, State Legislatures Own Manual, I have a whole section on obfuscation, and I'm going to probably take a clip of this meeting for an example.
Oh, looky here, Mr. College Professor come down from his ivory tower and his uncrusted peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to let us all know how much smarter he is than us and call us lies. And on top of that, wait, did this dumb shit just say he was going to put a video clip in his book?
In my forthcoming book, State Legislatures Own Manual, I have a whole section on obfuscation, and I'm going to probably take a clip of this meeting for an example.
Oh, God, he did. I do not envy that printer. All right. Let's put some distance between ourselves and Kavanagh. I've grown tired of his stale, foul-smelling bigotry. From him inventing doctors who support his positions to lying about the intent of the bill, let's hear from someone a little more, clear-minded. Let's hear from someone who knows what they are talking about. Let's hear from someone on the pro-trans right side.
Chairman Farnsworth, members of the committee, thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Erica Kepler. This bill is word for word identical to 2023's SB 1001, except for one superfluous word being deleted. Governor Hobbs vetoed SB 1001 because it aimed to attack and harm children. Rehearing this bill is a waste of the legislature's time. This bill literally bans calling someone what they want to be called and using respectful terms, while it forces how you must refer to them. It is a legally mandated speech and is a blatant violation of the First Amendment. It has an onerous ban on calling someone by a nickname unless it is commonly associated with their legal name. Many families use nicknames as a matter of course that are not related to their legal names. It carries a cultural bias. It might work for Michael, but what is Shaniqua's common name? As always, you can't attack trans people without making life harder for everyone. It also violates Arizona statutes protecting the free exercise of religion. If someone believes in and practices the core Christian tenet of doing unto others as you would have them do unto you, it is a violation of their free exercise of religion to legally mandate that they refer to a student in a way that the student would resent. It tramples on a Christian right of kindness. This bill also conflicts with the Parents' Bill of Rights. It gives any school employee the power to overrule a parent's direction on how their child should be raised in violation of 1-602 and without having demonstrated a compelling government interest as required in 1-601. It doesn't matter what the parents say. If a teacher wishes to inflict emotional harm on a trans youth, this bill gives them the right. In statements to media, the bill sponsors made it clear that it has nothing to do with the interests of children and is entirely politically motivated. We said, quote, a majority of Americans don't go along with this far-left woke democratic agenda, end quote. Transgender people are not an agenda. We are not an ideology. We are just people dealing with an unusual condition of birth. We're not trying to hurt anyone, but powerful people are clearly intent on hurting us. Please vote no. Thank you.
Oh yes, that's the stuff. See, that's how you make an argument. You cite sources and explain in clear language the consequences of the bill. You point out the flaws and the pointlessness of the bill. She cooked. She's awesome. I love her. It is a sad day when a supposed college professor can't be bothered to put together a coherent argument or cite sources. I cannot stress enough, being unable to meet basic standards of evidence, for someone who is supposedly supposed to be an expert in evidence, has got to be incredibly embarrassing for Scottsdale Community College. To have as a spokesman for your college this obviously unqualified goof. I mean, is he someone's idiot cousin? What's the deal here, Scottsdale? How was this nut at such a senior position at your school? Back on topic. Good luck on your self-published book where you expose your enemies, Professor Kavanagh. I hope it does better numbers than your YouTube series on the same subject. And don't look for this bill to pass either. It's a massive ego stroke for Kavanagh, but it will ultimately get vetoed by Governor Hobbs. It's like Erica Kepler said, this is all just a waste of everyone's time.
This bill is word for word identical to 2023's SB 1001, except for one superfluous word being deleted. Governor Hobbs vetoed SB 1001 because it aimed to attack and harm children. Rehearing this bill is a waste of the legislature's time.
I'm History Sock and don't buy Professor Kavanagh's new books. I wrote a book and I'm very smart. Women Who Have Yelled at Me. And of course the classic, How to Deal with Farting Loudly. I told you I made a bunch of them.